call the July 18th meeting of the Kingston Springs Beer Board to order. John, could you please call the roll?
Josh Etherly.
Here.
Tony Gross.
Here.
Mike Hargis.
Here.
Jeff Lorenz. Here. Glenn Murray.
Here. All right, we have a quorum. The meeting minutes from the June 20th, 2019 meeting, have been distributed. Everyone's had a chance to look those over. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve. Second.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the July 18th agenda?
Motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Oh, we didn't have a second.
Oh, we didn't have a, do we have not have a second?
We didn't have a second.
Oh, sorry, second?
Second.
I'll say.
Sorry, Mike did. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, new business. Item A is a motion to approve a special event beer permit application for Amy and Cole Bruce, Sky King Pizza. I assume for dinner on Main.
This entails, yes, this is for the Dinner on Main event, and we need a special event beer permit for us to serve beer at the event, and Amy and Cole at Sky King Pizza are sponsoring this special event permit.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item B is a motion to waive the special event permit application fee for Sky King Pizza.
The permit application fee is $50, I do believe, and staff is requesting that fee be waived since this is a town event and a benefit for the Kingston Springs Farmers and Artisans Market.
Motion to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passes. All right, item C is a motion to approve the Harvest Community Mart beer permit application at 121 Lyman Hills Road, Kingston Springs, Tennessee. Do you have anything to?
I mean, they've sent in all the applications, paid the fees. Martha's looked over everything and everything's fine.
All right. Motion to approve. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes, and we will adjourn the beer board meeting.
Everybody.
All right, now we'll call to order the Kingston Springs Board of Commission meeting. Could everyone please rise and face the flag? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Everyone's had a chance to look over the minutes from the June 20th meeting. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Sorry, I'm signing my name at the same time here. All right, the agenda has been circulated. Everyone's had a chance to go over it. We only lack one item to add, and that would be item F under new business, and you all do have a copy of it. On what?
Roll call.
Oh, for voting members. Sorry. What'd you call the roll, John? Sorry.
Josh Etherly.
Here.
Tony Gross.
Here.
Mike Hargis.
Here.
Jeff Lorenz.
Here.
Glenn Murray.
Here.
Okay, well, we have a quorum. I apologize again. Okay, item F under new business is to approve this, the city manager to purchase the iWord Q software, so that'd be the only addition. I just add that. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, announcements of commissioners. Josh?
Yes, I'm just going to announce to everybody here that I've received a lot of phone calls, talked to a lot of people here, but make sure you're talking to everybody in town. It's very important that if there are concerns that we hear them. I think there's a lot of perception that we know everything that's happening all the time, and I've had people that tell me that I should know those things, and we don't know unless you know. So I just want to make sure, let everybody know to call us if you need something.
Mike?
The only announcement I would make is that tickets go on sale for the Dinner on Main, I think, on Saturday the 20th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. This Saturday night.
At the market out here. So if
if you or you have friends that are interested in buying a ticket, they're $100 a ticket this year for Dinner on Main, and the money goes to a good cause, help support the city.
Excellent night. Jeff, do you have anything?
I'm just proud of the first responders attending the accident on I-40. What a big mess that was, and I'm just proud of everyone. I'm glad everyone came out. I understand the driver is out of the hospital, or else it's out of ICU. He's doing better. Yeah, he's been released. So. Thank you.
All right. Now it's time for community input. So if you'd like to address the commission, just step up to the podium there, state your name and address, and you're free to speak.
I'm sorry, as y'all know, I'm very bashful. My name is Bob Sanders. I live at 225 Woodlands Drive. Most of you know that. First of all, I'd like to ask, I brought this to Planning Commission, and I believe that these elderly people from my neighborhood are here as well. There's a house that's been under reconditioning and redoing for over 3 years. They haven't been down there in 2 months. I think the guy works when he has money, and he doesn't work when he doesn't. And I'm just curious as to how he continues to get building permits for this length of time. Because if he can, I think we need to change that law. We have houses that we've spent lots of money on to keep the neighborhood up. We've got another neighbor up the street that has some false garage doors that have been there for years. I think that we've got to reinforce our codes to where we as homeowners are not losing the value of our houses. So can anybody answer that question for me? I don't know his address because it's not on the mailbox. He's between...
It's a third house from the corner from Kingston Spring Road.
Third house up on the right.
On the right, if you're going up Woodlands Drive, third house on the right. That house has been an eyesore from the day it was built. And it was sold at auction at the courthouse because the fellow defaulted on the...
Yes, sir, you need to hush. This is me. So if we could look into that, I think, and I did talk to the building commissioner of the Board of Zoning Appeals, and he said, Bob, we can't get in touch with the guy. We don't know who owns the property. Somebody's got to know who owns the property.
Amen.
You can't tell me you can't get a hold of the guy. Maybe he's not answering the phone, but we can certainly... I told him the next time I see a car over there, I'll call the cops, have them go see... Jeremy, I'll call you, and you go see him. So that's a big concern for us, and I wanted to bring that to your attention. And I guess that's about it. I would like to address one other thing. I had a customer that called Martha had a customer that called that's building a big complex out here on the interstate. Wanted to use a meeting room. I asked if they could use the Beck Center to have interviews. And John called me back, and the meeting was 2 weeks ago, was a week ago. They went to a bank here. I understand we can't have every Tom, Dick, and whoever come down here to rent this room, but we have a corporation that's building a major $1 million gas station that needed somewhere to do interviews, and we couldn't give them an answer. So I'm very, very curious as to why we couldn't get nonprofits. Fine, this guy's bringing dollars to our town, and we couldn't give him an answer. So I really think we need to look at that as well. I'm not asking that we have birthday parties in here or Bob Sanders appreciation or depreciation parties, but I think when somebody's bringing tax dollars to our town, we need to work with them as best we can to accommodate them. They could go to Dixon, they could go to Bellevue. That's all I got. Anything for me? I can take it. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
You old people can go home now.
Oh, shut up. Respect your
That's
elders.
the best time.
Yeah, really. Hi, my name's Gail Hoots, and I live at 226 Woodlands Drive. And
the youngster there lives kind of across the street from us. The house that Bob was referring to, we have a back porch that I use a lot, and I sit out there a lot, and I see the wildlife running through the yard back there, rabbits, and which is great. I love that part of it. But the grass is high. No one's cutting the grass. No one has been visible to my knowledge, and I'm home almost every day for probably 3 months. I remember at one point when the people that lived in it were still in it, the roof was non-existent. They put a blue tarp on it. Josh, you probably saw that. And that stayed that way for months and months and months. And then those people, I think they got foreclosed on and they left. And it's just a total and complete eyesore. When we've lived in Kingston Springs in that house since November of 1973, 44 years, be 45 years in November. And most everybody in that neighborhood has kept their property up, kept it looking nice, spent a lot of money on trying to do that, keep their grass cut. And it's just, when I invite someone to my house, I'm embarrassed to say, I'm the 5th house up on the right, but the 3rd house up on the right just kind of don't even look over that way because it's scarier. But I don't know what you guys can do about it, or if you can do something. We don't know what we can do as residents, except go down there and say something to him, and I'm not going to do that. I mean, I don't know what the man's situation is. He may have taken bankruptcy and can't feed his kids for all I know, but that's not my problem. Our problem is just the unsightliness of it. It's terrible. There was something else I wanted to talk about. So I've heard that there are apartments going in down here next to the storage units, yes. And rumor has it that they're going to be low income or Section 8 or something like that. That may or may not be true. I don't know. But I know what happened in Bellevue, and I know my daughter lives in Bellevue, and she has had her dog killed. She's had all 4 tires stolen off of her car. And when the Section 8 housing came in, that's when all that craziness started happening. And I know for a fact, because of the job that I used to have, I'm retired now, there are people, there's one family I know that did live in there that paid $8 a month to live in that place. The kids run wild. Law enforcement is constantly there. I see them every time I pass. It's a horrible place, and I don't want that out here. I don't think any of us do. We don't have any children anymore, but I still worry about my property and break-ins and, people, not good people being around. So I don't want that. One other thing that I know Elliot wants to talk about is there is a house across the street from me and up maybe 3 houses closer to Elliot than me that I believe is rental property now, and it is a total eyesore. Trucks and cars and trailers and all sorts of yard art, straight from Tijuana, sitting in there, and it's pretty unsightly. And I try to think if there's anything else I want to complain about, but I don't think so. I appreciate everything that everybody here tries to do. Like I said, we have been here for 44 years, almost 45 years in this community. We love it here, or we would not be here anymore. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, interject.
Go ahead.
The property that Mr. Sanders and Ms. Hoops have mentioned, the building inspector is aware and has placed a red stop work order tag on that property.
That's what I was gonna ask you, if they could put a stop work order on that, but it don't make no difference, because they ain't got nothing up there anyway.
Yes, they've had it, and he's investigating to locate the owner of the property so that we can contact them and make some difference. So yes, we are aware, and the building inspector, codes inspector is on the case.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name's Bill Clark. I live at 259 Woodland. And they've taken my thunder. But I'd just like for all of you, I don't know if you do or not, I'd like for all of you one day just to drive down Woodlands from Harford View to East Kingston Springs Road. I've driven around the community. I'm a newcomer. I've only been here 18 years. But there isn't another street in Kingston Springs that's in the mess that Woodlands is. And all you have to do is drive down through there. And these people right next door to you, Jeff, is a nightmare. The front yard's a parking lot. There's a trailer always on the street. Now they've dragged in a demolition derby and covered it with a tarp. Are you aware of that? Is there anything at all that y'all can do? Except not say anything?
Theoretically, we're not allowed to address you. It's the rules.
Do what now?
The way the community input forum, the way it functions is the commission doesn't actually speak. You can speak to the commission, but I'm actually violating the rules right now by speaking to you. It's just the rules.
I didn't know that.
So that's
I thought everybody could say something to
Yeah.
somebody, but unfortunately.
Mr. Mayor, can I interject one more time?
Go ahead. Why not?
The building and codes inspector of the two instances that you've just mentioned has yellow tagged, which is the first process in alerting the citizen or the particular property owner that what they are doing is against codes. And that's taken place at the property that you are describing, as far as I know. That took place today.
How long does it take before somebody recognizes a problem and starts a procedure?
It depends. We rely on two different things. We rely on community input. If there is a problem in the community, we rely on the community to let us know that there is a problem. The building inspector, codes inspector is contracted, so he is only here 2 half days a week. He's here Wednesday mornings for 4 hours and Thursday mornings for 4 hours. So he does not have a lot of opportunity to drive the streets of the town looking for codes violations, but he does occasionally when he does have that opportunity. So it's a mixed bag. We rely on citizen input and we rely on the codes inspector viewing properties as, and we rely on the public safety officers as they're out and about every day. They'll let us know that there's an issue. And as far as having it resolved, that kind of depends on the property owner. Some are speedy to make a correction, some are not speedy to make a correction.
But this gentleman lives right next door to it. I would think he could make a comment to y'all about it. He has to put up with it. You drive down the street, Mr. Ethan, I'm sure. You see it, don't you? And by the way, I do work for your granddaddy.
I know.
JD. You know that? Pleased to meet y'all.
If I could say one more thing, when you mentioned these people drive by and look and see the building inspectors, et cetera, what do we as residents out here need to expect in a timely manner of something being done? I mean, 3 more years?
It's as I said, it depends on the property owner, and it's a process that we go through in working with that property owner to correct those actions.
Well, it basically sounds like the ball is in his court to do what he wants to do, no matter what we think.
That's not necessarily the case. There's a process that we go through to assure that the town's codes are upheld, but it is also something that we work with the property owner to try to get those codes taken care of as quickly
Well,
as
if it's a
possible.
rental piece of property and the people that live there don't own it,
We contact the property owner.
and what's,
I don't know her last name anymore,
what was,
I know.
she died of cancer.
Yeah,
and
her daughter rented the house.
Got the house taken over.
What is it,
She
Shelley?
rented it.
what's her name?
I don't know.
I know, I just, my elderly
She lives
is
in
prevents me
Bellevue,
from.
The CRS is.
Diane Craver.
Right.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Would anyone else like to address the commission?
I've got one other question. You may want to change your website, because John just brought something to my attention. I did talk to the building and codes director, but it says he works Monday through Thursday. Maybe he answers the phone, but I didn't know that. So he does answer the phone, because he called me back yesterday when I called him about that one piece of property.
Thank you.
I want
don't want to comment. My name is Elliot Wells, and I live at 242 Woodlands Drive, and I have been there since 1980, so I've been there a while.
You're old.
They basically covered everything I was going to say, but there is one they didn't cover. There's a house behind me that has an old truck in the yard on Kingston Springs Road that evidently y'all have tried to get moved and he won't move it. And I guess my question is that possible? I mean, can somebody say, I'm not going to do it? I mean, assuming, let's say, the old car that's on our street, the guy says, well, I'm not going to move it. I mean, is there something that you do from there? I mean, what happens?
Would you like to, I mean, there's an ordinance that dictates, you know, what we can do with junk cars, but,
Yes, sir, there is a process that escalates from a courtesy notification to a letter to a citation to court, and that process escalates from there.
Okay, and so I'm assuming since that truck has been parked there for several years, it's in the works.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you.
Maybe it's a plan.
all right, are there any other comments from the commission?
I'd like to, my name is John Hoots, I live at 226 Woodlands Drive. Up here by the storage building up there where they're doing all the excavation work, we have heard tales, and we'd like to maybe get a little comfort from somebody that we've heard tales that this is low rent housing or Section 8 housing going in there. And we've seen what it did to Bellevue. We built a house in Bellevue in 1967 and lived there for 6 years, and then built this house down here in 73 and moved down here. And Bellevue basically didn't have any crime until Section 8 housing came in. And we've seen what it's done to Bellevue. My daughter lives up there. She knows. And I've seen it also. And we would like to, it seems like that the public, when they start a construction project here in Kingston Springs, I cannot find anybody that can tell you what it's going to be. Nobody will tell you what it's going to be. Nobody told us what was going in down here where Highway 55 Burgers is going in, or where, what's the name of the place on the left there where they tore the hill down, Thornton's. Nobody knew what was going in down there. Nobody would tell anybody. And they just start these construction projects and nobody knows what's happening. I mean, does anybody in town here, do y'all know what's going in there?
Once again, this is usually not a question answer, but what I will say is there is a monthly planning commission meeting where all this happens, and you can go online and you can watch those on video. You can go back and watch every bit of the planning process you want to. That goes through the planning commission looking at the plans, approving the building plans, approving the site plans, and those sorts of things, and the back and forth that went on. The Thornton's project, there's probably 2 years worth of meetings you can watch just on the Thornton's project.
Well, I've asked, matter of fact, I've asked some of the commissioners over at the county and everything about some of this stuff. They don't have a clue what's going on down here.
Yeah, you can talk to us, and I also recommend watching those videos. They're not the most entertaining thing, but if you want to know what's going on, they're public meetings, and it'll go through the people from the companies are there. You'll see the whole process.
Is this the county planning commission or the city planning?
City planning commission.
Okay, and they're online.
They're online.
And y'all know what's happening in this town. Is that right?
Anybody that watches the video will know what's happening.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Department reports. Everyone's had a chance to read the department reports. Is there anything you'd like to add? Nothing new. All right, legal updates. Nothing new. We made it over the big hurdle there. We have no unfinished business, so we'll move on to new business. Item A is a motion to approve Resolution 19-007, determining the Town of Kingston Springs certified tax rate for the 2019 tax year. Debbie, I'll let you go through this, but we've all had Martha Brooks going to you.
Spotlight on this one.
Okay.
So as you all know, the county just did a reappraisal this year. As we all also know, too, property values have increased fairly substantially since the last reappraisal in 2013. That has affected the certified tax rate. The certified tax rate is the rate that you get when you take the new property values, look at how much revenue you generate off of property taxes last year, and the certified rate is the new rate it would take to get you to the same dollar value property tax revenue. So recently, for I think most of the cities in this county, have realized that there is a statute that requires a town to recognize or to set the certified tax rate. It's not adopting it as your tax levy rate. It's just saying, this is what our certified rate is. This is what will generate us the same exact amount of property tax revenue this year as we got last year, based upon the change in property values. And so what you have before you tonight is a resolution that is determining the certified tax rate. Then moving forward, you can decide whether or not you want to accept that as the tax rate for the 2019 tax year and levy on that tax rate. Or if you choose to go higher, then we have to advertise in the newspaper with a notice to exceed the certified tax rate and have a public hearing on it.
There's no automatic increase. In fact, it's identical amount of revenue. If my property's going up $20,000 in appraisal, the rate's adjusted down to where I pay the same tax as the certified rate. Is that correct?
Right. So you should, in fact, you'll see some people that may have a lower tax bill this year. Some people will have a higher tax bill. It just all kind of filters
Depends
out.
on my property's appraisal.
Right.
But the idea is it's identical money. It's not an increase. Even though the appraisal went up, the only way it would be an increase would be this board would decide that and advertise it and vote on it.
Right. So let's say, just use a thrown out number here. If you generate $100,000 last year in property tax revenue off of the 30-cent tax rate, well, this year you may only have a 20-cent tax rate to get you that same $100,000.
Because the property value went to 150.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Or population.
All right. So we have our resolution to, and it's got our new certified rate of 68 cents, 0.6831. That's our new certified rate. Do we have a motion to accept the tax rate for the 2019 tax year?
Motion to accept.
Second?
Let's say motion to determine the certified tax rate.
Determining, yeah. Excuse me, setting would be different.
Motion to determine the certified tax.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yeah, we should roll, John?
Josh Etherly,
Here.
Tony Gross,
Yes.
Mike Hargis,
Yes.
Jeff Lorenz.
Yes.
Glenn Renner.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're here too, right?
Yeah, I am.
You're the yes as well. All right, so the motion passes. The item B is first reading of ordinance 19-004, establishing the property tax rate for the town of Kingston Springs for the 2019 tax year. All right.
So this is where we get
With setting
into,
rate.
do you want to keep it the same as last year? Or are you inclined to increase it and get more property tax revenue? And if so, then we'll need to advertise in the paper and set a public hearing.
Motion to increase the tax rate to 0.70.
So, okay. So just to increase it to just under 2 cents. Is that right?
Increasing it 2 cents, correct.
Increasing it to would be.
It would
It'd be a little bit more.
It would not, it's not, but, yeah.
It would be
706.
7.031.
So,
Well, it's easier if you just say 70 cents.
We could just,
you don't have to.
we're talking about a practical amount here. So I think Glenn put a motion on the floor to increase to 70 cents. Do we have a second?
If we could, if the
Point.
form on that, if we could say, motion to set the tax rate for the 2019 year at 70
70.
cents per $100 of assessed property value, and approve the ordinance. And then you'll need to set your public hearing advertise.
Okay, so I need to state, I need to motion to increase the tax rate to .7031.
No, don't say that. You're just
Just
doing
gonna do 0.7? Okay.
Okay.
Correct?
Per $100 of assessed
Per
rate
$100 of assess rate
for the 2019 tax.
for the 2019 tax year.
All right. That was okay. So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion.
So percentage increase would be, let's see,
You all have a
7 cents would
sheet, I
be-
sent it to you,
Oh, okay.
an email that showed you
What it would, what it comes out
what it
to.
would generate.
It's in your package.
Okay, gotcha.
What it generates.
That's awesome.
But I don't know what that would be as a percentage.
Right.
No, that's what I'm trying to figure in my head a
Yeah,
little bit. to
that's
see just-
2.474.
2.474?
Would be the percentage increase.
Yes. Okay. We got one math major on the team, that's good.
Yay. Team of each. Which is less than what we normally do.
Right, correct.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Is there any more discussion? John, could you please call the roll?
Josh Heatherly,
Yes.
Tony Gross,
Yes.
Mike Hargis,
Yes.
Jeff Lorenz,
Yes.
Glenn Remick.
Yes.
All right, the motion passes. You can set a public hearing date for the, prior to the next meeting, the August meeting.
Yes, sir.
Plenty of time to advertise. All right, item C is motion to approve resolution 19-006, a 3% sewer fee increase.
This is just, you all do this every year as part of your budget, and so you have to pass a resolution.
And last year, in hopes of, it turns out we were doing the right thing. We did a sewer rate study last year, and they said we were essentially on track doing what we were doing, right? And that's pretty
As
much
long as we continue to
what the
30%.
outcome was from the sewer rate study the state did. So.
A question, actually, if we get behind on that, then the state gets after us, right?
Exactly.
You don't want to.
We don't
because
really have
if
much
you
choice.
A negative, what they call a net positive, if you have a negative for 2 years, maybe 3, I think it's 2, then you have to go before state board.
Right.
We've been through the state board.
Yeah, I know.
You don't want to go
We don't want to do that, okay.
And plus, they can take over your system and set the rates themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of incentive to
Yes, there is.
follow the rules and.
Well, I make a motion that we adopt a 3% sewer fee increase,
Second.
1906.
Second?
Second.
Glenn? All right. Call the roll, John.
Josh Heatherly,
Yes.
Tony Gross,
Yes.
Mike Hargis,
Yes.
Jeff Lorenz,
Yes.
Glenn Remick.
Yes.
Motion passes. Item D is a motion to write off uncollectible sewer debt. This is every year.
Yeah, actually, I think they do this twice a year, but you all have the sheet in your packet, and it's just where, the water department collects the sewer bills, and this is just bills that they have made the attempt to collect and are unable to collect, so we have to write them off. We have to have a motion from you all to write it off.
So this is somebody that owes the sewer bill, but it's moved off, and we can't collect it at that point.
90% of the time is rental property.
Yeah.
Just for sake, what is the, what do they do to try to collect? Phone call? I mean, there's no,
I really don't know.
there's no stickers on
I do know
doors.
they go through a process of trying to collect. And we also, since we have this problem, we now have in effect, and have for several years, where people have to pay a sewer service fee, and that's a $50 non-refundable fee, which kind of helps us offset.
We don't pay
Yeah.
apply the 50 against that.
Yeah, so it's just a way to offset it, but.
I was just concerned because obviously there are quite a few people on here that still live at these properties. They're not rental. And have lived at these properties for a while. And it, it's not a lot of money. I don't want to cause a big stink. I just didn't know what the process was to collect. And then also I saw Zapata, which is Pegram. So does that mean we're servicing?
Yeah, Sneed Road.
Does that mean we're servicing?
I don't understand that.
Oh.
So you're only gonna be looking at the column that says Kingston Springs Sewer.
Just the top
Gotcha.
portion of the top.
Gotcha.
Yeah. That's the only one that you're gonna be.
So it's a total of $1,834.99.
Oh, Pegram is super. Okay.
Yeah.
The $10,000 number would be all of them.
Yeah. So it's a $1,834.99, which we need you to approve to write off uncollectible.
Motion to approve, writing off.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item E is a motion to appoint Teresa Chandler to the Kingston Springs Board of Zoning Appeals for a term from November 2019 to November 2022. Ms. Chandler has also joined us here tonight. Welcome.
I make a motion that we approve Teresa Chandler as part of the zoning board appeals committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'm out of order, I know this, but does that mean I'm not on that anymore?
No.
It means he's not on it anymore.
Oh, good. I didn't want to lose that paycheck I'm getting.
Mayor, if we could backtrack for 1 second on the appointment for the Board of Zoning Appeals, I believe, Mr. Harris, we probably need your official resignation.
My resignation?
Yeah, to
Okay.
have the seat.
To be
Because I
open.
can't do that anymore.
I thought that he was by default had resigned.
We had it in a public meeting last time, but he wasn't here.
Okay.
So I resigned.
All
I
right.
don't violate the law, I resign. I quit.
All right. So are we good now that Mike
I
is
think we're good.
resigned?
Point.
All right. We've never had this situation occur before, I don't think. All right. Well, congratulations, and
Thank you.
you can join such esteemed colleagues as Los Angeles.
Good for you.
All right, item F is a motion to authorize the city manager to enter the town of Kingston Springs into a service agreement with iWork, I guess would be how you pronounce that.
It's iWork software. Right now, our building and codes department, we keep track of all of our files through Excel spreadsheets and emails and manila folders. With our building inspector and our city planner both contracted and not being on site all of the time, this will allow us a centralized database that can be accessed from anywhere with the correct login procedures. We'll be able to manipulate whatever screens that we want to use and whatever reporting we want to pull from it. It will make things a lot more efficient and a lot easier for everyone to use. It's a subscription service, so it's a yearly fee. I believe that I had sent details about the agreement, and I was incorrect in that. There's a $1,500 upfront fee for us to establish all the working parts, make all reports and that kind of stuff, along with the training for the software. And then it's a $2,500 annual fee after that to basically host all of our files.
Are we able to utilize this software in other departments for the city, or just?
We can. It's not something that we've really explored, but the way this software works, it is easy for us to manipulate the front end of it. So we could use it for really whatever we needed to use it for. It would just be a matter of creating a new screen. We can do that locally, or we can also ask for their assistance to help that at no extra cost. So it could be expandable, yes.
Because of the high cost, I'd love to see, I think it might be a high cost, I'd love to see us utilize as much as possible.
Yes, sure.
I read obviously 4.1, it says we want to own the data. Something I don't know if you checked, some of these software companies, it's hard to extract that data make it usable.
Right.
Once you own
If
it,
you-
but it
you
comes
know.
over in this format that it's
Yeah, it-
Greek. You know,
My
have
understanding
we?
is what goes in is what comes out.
Well, that's been my understanding a lot of times
I
too,
mean,
prior
with-
to
with like
purchasing software.
AutoCAD, if you do AutoCAD's subscription service now, you own the data, but unless you pay them, you have no way to access the data.
Right, they encrypt or change the file.
I mean, the file type doesn't really exist. Yeah.
Yeah, So, yeah, I mean, I think
So,
the
anyway,
concept's
so there is
good, but I think we probably need to at least get demo of that portion of it because we don't want to lose it.
Yes, yes.
You know, for sure. And are there competitive?
We've looked at 3 different software companies that came fairly highly recommended. This was actually not only the least expensive, but the most, I think GUI is the right term, where it's the user interface is very simple, very easy to use. It's very easy to manipulate as you progress and your needs change.
Will the codes inspector have access to the mobile? Is that a mobile platform?
Yes.
So they have access when they're standing right there?
Yes.
And let's keep in mind that this investment will allow us to continue with contracted labor that's less than hiring
Right.
full-time people, so you're really investing to save money of having full-time folks in those roles if we want to address the issues and codes and those kind of things in the
Yes.
community, right?
Well, and I was kind of bringing up the ownership point because if we did go to a full-time, we need that data.
We still
to
need
change.
data too, yeah. I mean, but this allows us to, at least for a while, continue like we've been doing with less than full-time employees, contracted labor, which is cheaper. So we're spending,
I mean,
we're saving salaries, but we're spending something to support the part-time people.
I think Josh's concern is just simply, but you can correct me if I'm wrong, is say in the future we don't want to use this software, where's our data and what platform will that data be operational from?
Right, and I can very easily get that in writing. from
Well,
the
I would get a
representative.
demo. I would get an extracted demo.
Okay.
You know,
Very good point.
to do that.
And storage, I understand they're only doing a 10 gigabytes total storage. I wonder how long it would take us to fill that when they charge us after.
That is another point that I addressed with our sales representative. You can purchase extra storage, but I asked him if he would give us 100 gigabyte worth of storage on the front end, and they agreed to that verbally. I'll get that in writing before we sign the contract.
Excellent. And my last question, obviously we're investing in the new, it's the thing, Austin, the new camera data mapping system.
Yes.
Yeah. You think there's any integration?
There's some potential.
Because if there's integration for that here, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, there's potential for that, for his, for sewer calls, for septic system
What's that thing
service, that
called?
kind of stuff. Locator.
Yeah. Okay. 'Cause that's really
Yes.
expensive.
He uses a spreadsheet for that as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If we
integrated
could put
into-
this in here. Yeah, so for me, I'd like to see a little bit more information, but I think the cost makes sense. Given
Okay.
it.
Especially being expanded.
Correct.
Well then, what's the will of the board here? Do we want to proceed and allow him to enter into this contract, or do we want to wait till we have more information on how the software functions?
The data is very concerning to me. I'd like to see that extracted first.
So maybe we could
But we postpone it.
postpone this till the next meeting and
But it sounds great.
table it till the next meeting.
Okay.
We'll pick it up in August after we have all the details in place.
Just holding you up.
All right. We have no items to surplus. Nothing else, I don't believe. The reminders are, of course, there's movies in the park, A Dog's Way Home, I believe, on Saturday evening, starting at what time?
Dusk, most likely around 8:30 or so.
And the capital budget workshop will be next Thursday, same
Starting at what
place,
time?
5 o'clock. Same place, different time. And the dinner on,
And the place is?
Here.
right here.
Right here, okay. Same place here, you mean?
Same place, different time. Yeah.
Okay.
Dinner on Main will be Sunday, September 8th. Tickets go on sale at the Farmers Market this Saturday at 9 a.m.
That's
All right. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.